a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. Uma Thurman. Karuna Thurman is an American actress and model. She has performed in a variety of films, ranging from romantic comedies and dramas, to science fiction and action movies. Following her appearances on the December 1985 and May 1986 covers of British Vogue, she starred in Dangerous Liaisons. Thurman rose to international prominence with her performance in Pulp Fiction, for which she was nominated for the Academy Award, the BAFTA Award, and the Golden Globe Award for Best Supporting Actress. Often hailed as Quentin Tarantino's muse, she reunited with the director to play the main role in both Kill Bill films, which brought her 2 additional Golden Globe Award nominations. Thurman starred in several prominent films throughout the 1990s, including Batman and Robin, Gattaca, and Les Misérables. In the early 2000s, she starred in several independent films, such as Vatel, Tape, and Chelsea Walls. In 2002, Thurman won the Golden Globe Award for Best Actress in a Television Film for her performance in Hysterical Blindness. Her subsequent film roles included Be Cool, The Producers, Prime, and My Super Ex-Girlfriend. In 2011, Thurman was a member of the jury for the main competition at the 64th Cannes Film Festival. In 2013, she garnered critical praise and won a Bambi Award for her performance in the first volume of Lars von Trier's 2-part art film Nymphomaniac. Thurman has also worked in television, with notable performances in the NBC series Smash and the Slap, as well as a recurring role in the Bravo series Imposters. In 2012, Thurman received a Primetime Emmy Award nomination for Outstanding Guest Actress in a Drama Series for her 5-episode role in Smash. Early life. Thurman was born in Boston, Massachusetts. Her first name, Uma, literally means splendor, light, and it is also one of the epithets of Hindu female goddess Parvati, while her second given name, Karuna, means compassion or empathy. Her father, Robert Alexander Farrar Thurman, is a professor of Indo-Tibetan Buddhist studies, an academic and writer. He lived as an ordained Buddhist monk for 3 years. Her mother, Nana von Schlebrugger, is German nobility and a high-fashion model. Discovered in Stockholm, who moved to New York City at the age of 17 to join the Ford modeling agency. Thurman received a Buddhist upbringing, and spent altogether around 2 years in the Indo-Himalayan town of Almora. She grew up mostly in Amherst, Massachusetts, where she went to Amherst Regional Junior High School, then moved to Woodstock, New York. She has 3 brothers, Gandon, Dejan Kal, and me Pam, and a half-sister named Taya, from her father's previous marriage. Thurman's first cousin, once removed, is Swedish football player Max von Schlebrugger. Thurman is described as having been an awkward and introverted girl who was teased for her tall frame, angular bone structure, enormous feet and unusual name. When Thurman was 10 years old, a friend's mother suggested a nose job. As a child, she suffered bouts of body dysmorphic disorder. She attended Amherst public schools. In the 8th grade she discovered her love for acting. Talent scouts noticed her performance as Abigail in a production of The Crucible and offered her the chance to act professionally. Thurman attended Northfield Mount Hermon School, a preparatory school in Massachusetts, before dropping out to pursue a career in acting. In an interview with the New York Times in February 2018, Thurman revealed that she was raped by an actor when she was 16 years old. She did not identify the actor, who was nearly 20 years her senior. 1980s. Thurman began her career as a fashion model at age 15, and signed with the agency Click Models. Her early modeling credits included Glamour, and the December 1985 and May 1986 covers of British Vogue. She made her movie debut in 1988, appearing in 4 films that year. Her first 2 were the high school comedy Johnny Be Good and teen thriller Kiss Daddy Goodnight. She had a small role in The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, playing the goddess Venus alongside Oliver Reed's Vulcan. During her entrance she briefly appears nude, in an homage to Botticelli's The Birth of Venus. The most notable of these first 4 films was Oscar-winning drama Dangerous Liaisons, in which Thurman's character of Cécile de Volanges is seduced by the manipulative Vicomte de Valmont. A commercial success, the picture also garnered Thurman recognition and acclaim from critics and audiences. Film critic Roger Ebert found her to be well cast in her tricky key role. At the time, insecure about her appearance, she spent roughly a year in London, during which she often wore loose, baggy clothing. Malkovich said of her, "There is nothing twitchy teenager-ish about her. I haven't met anyone like her at that age. Her intelligence and poise stand out. But Terry's something else. She's more than a little haunted." 1990s. In 1990, Thurman appeared with Fred Ward and Maria de Medeiros in Henry and June, a sexually provocative drama about the relationship and affairs between writer Henry Miller and his wife June Miller in 1931 Paris. The film was the first to receive an NC-17 rating, and partly because many American newspapers refused to advertise films with the new rating, it did not get wide release in the United States. However, it won Thurman good notices. The New York Times wrote, "Thurman, as the Brooklyn-accented June, takes a larger-than-life character and makes her even bigger, though the performance is often as curious as it is commanding." In the 1991 British adventure Robin Hood, she played Maid Marian, the love interest of the titular character. The film was originally intended for a theatrical release in the US, but premiered as a television film for Fox Network. She subsequently appeared in the neo-noir drama Final Analysis, co-starring Richard Gere and Kim Basinger, and starred opposite Andy Garcia in the thriller Jennifer 8, portraying a young blind woman romantically involved with a former policeman. She headlined Gus Van Sant's 1993 adaptation of Tom Robbins' novel Even Cowgirls Get the Blues. Upon its release, the movie received negative reviews and flopped at the box office. Thurman earned a Golden Raspberry Award nomination for Worst Actress. The Washington Post described her acting as shallow, remarking that Thurman's strangely passive characterization doesn't go much deeper than drawling and flexing her prosthetic thumbs. Also in 1993, she starred opposite Robert De Niro in the little-scene drama Mad Dog and Glory, and auditioned for Stanley Kubrick while he was casting for his eventually unrealized adaptation of the novel Wartime Lies. In Quentin Tarantino's neo-noir black comedy Pulp Fiction, Thurman portrayed Mia Wallace, the wife of a Los Angeles mobster. Several actresses were considered for the role, but Tarantino wanted Thurman after their first meeting. The film grossed $213.9 million worldwide, and received widespread acclaim, appearing on many critics' lists of the greatest films ever made. She dominated most of the movie's promotional material. Mia is considered one of the most iconic female film characters of the 1990s. The Washington Post asserted that Thurman was serenely unrecognizable in a black wig, and is marvelous as a zoned-out gangster's girlfriend. For her performance, Thurman was nominated for the Golden Globe and the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress, and launched into the celebrity A-list. She took little advantage of her newfound fame by choosing not to do any big-budget films for the next 3 years. During an interview with Time magazine in 2003, Tarantino, who considers Thurman his muse, remarked that she was up there with Garbo and Dietrich in Goddess territory. 1996 would see Thurman in 2 films, the first of which was the ensemble romantic comedy Beautiful Girls, alongside Mira Sorvino, Martha Plimpton, and Natalie Portman. The film saw her play the female lead and love interest of Timothy Hutton's character. Despite modest box office returns, the film was favorably received by the critics, who praised the script and acting, particularly that of Hutton and Portman. Thurman next starred, with Janeane Garofalo in the romantic comedy The Truth About Cats and Dogs as a ditzy blonde model. In 1997, she starred opposite Ethan Hawke in Gattaca, a science fiction film set in a future society driven by eugenics, where potential children are conceived through genetic manipulation to ensure they possess the best hereditary traits of their parents. Although the picture did not make an impression commercially, it drew many positive reviews and became successful on the home video market. Some critics were not as impressed with Thurman, such as Los Angeles Times, which wrote that she was as emotionally uninvolved as ever. Her next film role was supervillain Poison Ivy in Batman and Robin. Budgeted at over $125 million, The film grossed a modest $238 million internationally and was unanimously panned, with critics considering it one of the worst films of all time. However, Thurman's performance was largely highlighted. Houston Chronicle remarked that Thurman sometimes seems to be doing Mae West by way of Jessica Rabbit, and a similar positive comparison was made by the New York Times. Like Mae West, she mixes true femininity with the winking womaniness of a drag queen. She obtained a Blockbuster Entertainment Award for Best Sci-Fi Actress and was also nominated for Favorite Movie Actress at the Kids' Choice Awards. In 1998, she starred as a British secret agent in The Avengers, another financial and critical flop. CNN described her as so distanced you feel like you're watching her through the wrong end of a telescope. She took on the role of Fantine in Les Misérables, the 1998 film version of Victor Hugo's novel of the same name, directed by Bill August. On his review of the film, Roger Ebert said that Thurman's performance is the best element of the movie. After the birth of her first child in 1998, Thurman took a one-year break from acting to concentrate on motherhood, and returned to the screen in the role of a socialite named Blanche Williams in Woody Allen's romantic dramedy Sweet and Lowdown. She performed in theatre during February 1999, in an update of Molière's The Misanthrope at the Classic Stage Company, but her performance was not well received by critics. 2000s. In 2000, she starred in the period drama The Golden Bowl, which is based on the 1904 novel of the same name by Henry James. Describing her role in The Golden Bowl, the San Francisco Chronicle noted, Charlotte wasn't the principal character in James's 1904 novel, but in the film version, she takes center stage. Played by the long-necked Uma Thurman, she's less vixen than Ninny, a smooth operator whose maneuvers seem to issue not from shrewdness or intelligence, but from a microchip that allows her to robotically spout her lines with careful inflection. It's a blunder of a performance, and makes the viewer wish that the director had cast a more accomplished actress, Kate Winslet, perhaps, or Kate Blanchett, who could give dimension to the character and indicate subtext in a way that Thurman can't. Also in November 2000, she narrated the John Moran opera Book of the Dead at the Public Theatre. Most of her roles in the early 2000s were in independent films, such as Vatel, Tape, and Chelsea Walls. The historical drama Vatel saw Thurman play Anne de Montosia, the love interest of 17th-century French chef François Vatel. In Richard Linklater's real-time drama Tape, she starred as the former girlfriend of a drug dealer and volunteer firefighter. She was nominated for the Independent Spirit Award for Best Supporting Female for her part in Tape. Hawke directed her in Chelsea Walls, a drama revolving a number of artists as they spend a single day in New York's famed bohemian home Chelsea Hotel. She would win a Golden Globe for her acting in HBO cable movie Hysterical Blindness, where she was also one of the executive producers. Thurman played a New Jersey woman in the 1980s searching for romance. In its review, the San Francisco Chronicle remarked, Thurman so commits herself to the role, eyes blazing and body akimbo, that you start to believe that such a creature could exist, an exquisite-looking woman so spastic and needy that she repulses regular Joes. Thurman has bent the role to her will. Thurman reunited with Quentin Tarantino for the two-part martial arts action film Kill Bill, portraying assassin Beatrix Kiddo, out for revenge against her former lover. Tarantino wrote the part specifically for her. He cited Thurman as his muse while writing the film, and gave her joint credit for the character, whom the two conceived on the set of Pulp Fiction, from the sole image of a bride covered in blood. Thurman's main inspiration for the role was the title character of Coffee, and the character of Gloria Swenson from Gloria. She said that both of them are two of the only women I've ever seen be truly women, while holding a weapon. Production was delayed for several months after Thurman became pregnant and Tarantino refused to recast the part. The film took 9 months to shoot, and was filmed in 5 different countries. The role was also her most demanding, and she spent 3 months training in martial arts, swordsmanship, and Japanese. Kill Bill was originally set to be released as one film, however, due to its long running time, it was ultimately released in 2 parts. Both volumes scored highly with critics and audiences, subsequently developing a cult following. Rolling Stone likened Thurman to an avenging angel out of a 1940s Hollywood melodrama. She was nominated for 2 Golden Globe for both entries, plus 3 MTV Movie Awards for Best Female Performance and 2 for Best Fight. In 2005, she starred in several films. Her first film of the year was the crime comedy Be Cool, the sequel to 1995's Get Shorty, which reunited her with her Pulp Fiction castmate John Travolta. Despite a lukewarm critical reception, the film grossed $95 million. She next starred in the romantic comedy Prime with Meryl Streep, playing a woman in her late 30s romancing a man in his early 20s. Her last role of the year was the remake The Producers, in which she played Eula, a Swedish stage actress hoping to win a part in a new Broadway musical. Originally, the producers of the film planned to have another singer dub in Thurman's musical numbers, but she was eager to do her own vocals. She is credited for her songs in the credits. The film bombed commercially, but garnered generally acclaim from critics. A.O. Scott of the New York Times, who said, "Uma Thurman as a would-be actress is the one bit of genuine radiance in this aggressively and pointlessly shiny, noisy spectacle." In 2006, she starred opposite Luke Wilson in My Super Ex-Girlfriend, playing a superhero who is dumped by her boyfriend and then takes her revenge upon him. She received $14 million for the role, but the film was panned by critics and made a modest $61 million worldwide. Entertainment Weekly felt that it was a miscalculation to make Thurman the antagonist. She does a sprightly satiric turn, but it is wasted in a movie that would rather tweak male paranoia than liberate nerdette terrified of her powers. In the 2007 film The Life Before Her Eyes, Thurman starred as an accident survivor whose guilt causes her present-day life to fall apart. It received a limited theatrical release and was dismissed by critics as a confusing, painfully overwrought melodrama. She starred with Colin Firth and Jeffrey Dean Morgan in The Accidental Husband, a romantic comedy where she played a woman who finds herself married while engaged to another man. The film was released in theaters the UK in 2008, but received a direct-to-video premiere in the US, due to financial problems at distributor Yari Film Group. Also in 2008, she took on the role of a cocaine addict in the British television drama My Zinc Bed, co-starring Paddy Considine and Jonathan Pryce. In 2009's Motherhood, she starred as a New York City mother whose dilemmas of marriage, work, and self are shown in the trials and tribulations of One Pivotal Day. Distributed for a limited release to certain parts of the United States only, the independent dramedy garnered just $93,388 in 3 weeks of release. The New York Times critic A.O. Scott felt that Thurman's character is scattered, ambivalent, flaky and inconsistent, all of which is fine and energetically conveyed by Ms. Thurman. But what are tolerable quirks in a person can be deadly to a narrative. The movie stumbles from loose and scruffy naturalism to sitcom tidiness. 2010s. Thurman filmed a brief role in the fantasy adaptation Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief, appearing as Medusa, a Gorgon cursed by Athena. In 2011, she was a member of the jury for the main competition at the Cannes Film Festival, and her only film in the year ceremony was released for VOD in selected theaters. In the independent comedy, she starred as woman on the eve of her wedding who reconnects with an old fling. Writing for the New York Daily News, Elizabeth Weitzman was critical of Thurman's role and noted, "She gets stuck in so many small, undeserving projects, one has to wonder who's mapping out her career." Thurman appeared as one of the powerful and wealthy mistresses of Georges Darroy in the film adaptation of the 1885 novel Belle Amie, which had a world premiere at the 62nd Berlin International Film Festival, and was released in limited theaters in early 2012. At the time, Thurman joined the cast of NBC's drama series Smash, portraying Rebecca Duval, a Hollywood actress who wants to star in a new Broadway musical. Despite having limited musical ability, she appeared in 5 episodes of the show's first season. Her performance received largely positive reviews, and she earned a Primetime Emmy Award nomination for Outstanding Guest Actress in a Drama Series. In the critically panned romantic comedy Playing for Keeps, she appeared opposite Gerard Butler, Jessica Biel, and Catherine Zeta-Jones, playing what was described as a desperate housewife and a Daffy Trophy wife by Entertainment Weekly. Her next film release was Movie 43, an independent anthology black comedy film that featured 14 different storylines, with each segment having a different director. Thurman's segment, titled Superhero Speed Dating, saw her play Lois Lane, one of the women Batman tries to connect with while seeking out a bomb in a speed dating establishment. A commercial bomb, the compilation film was also universally panned by critics, with the Chicago Sun-Times calling it the Citizen Kane of awful. Thurman appeared in Lars von Trier's two-part ensemble art drama Nymphomaniac as Mrs. H, a rejected wife who confronts her estranged husband. The picture had its world premiere at the 64th Berlin International Film Festival, and was released in specialty cinemas, to critical acclaim. Despite Thurman's limited screen time in the Volume 1 of the film, Rolling Stone magazine remarked that she was sensational in a role that defies von Trier's mixed feelings about female power, while Vanity Fair found her to be downright terrific, noting that she lends the character a good deal of dignity. For her part, she received a Baudelaire Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. In 2014, Thurman starred in the short films The Mundane Goddess, The Gift and Jump, produced for the Jameson First Shot competition and created by Jameson Irish Whiskey in association with Trigger Street Productions. All shorts were posted on YouTube. Also in this year, she won the Bambi Award for Best International Actress. Thurman obtained the regular role of a television producer dating a much younger man on the NBC miniseries The Slap, the American adaptation of the Australian series of the same name. The 8-part project revolves around the fallout after a man slaps another couple's misbehaving child, and each episode is told through the perspective of a different character. On Thurman's role-centric episode, TV Overmind wrote that it was a reminder as to why this actress has gone so far in her career. Also in 2015, she played a famed restaurant critic named Simone in the Little Scene drama Burnt, starring Bradley Cooper. Variety described her role as a two-scene cameo, though she's mainly on hand to set the plot in motion. Thurman next took on the recurring role of a fixer on the Bravo dark comedy series Imposters, which premiered in February 2017. In March 2017, it was announced that she would reunite with von Trier on his thriller The House That Jack Built. In April 2017, Thurman was named president of Cannes Film Festival, Uncertain Regard, jury for works which offer a unique perspective and aesthetic, and during the same month, she joined the cast of Tim Hill's upcoming War with Grandpa. During July 2017, Uma Thurman officially announced her Broadway theatre debut in Beau Williams's The Parisian Woman. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?